Hi guys! Welcome to Shorthand tutorial. For today's lesson, we are going to learn lesson 3. In this lesson, we are going to tackle about the symbols for the sound of O, R, and L, minor vowels omitted, and symbols for the sound of short I. Note that in steno, the concept is you write what you hear. So, do not be surprised if the longhand spelling is different on the shorthand symbols you'll write. So, without further ado, let's get started. First, the symbols for the sound of O, R, and L. The shorthand symbols for O, R, and L are represented by a forward undercurves, differentiated by the length. Let's discuss first the sound of O. O is represented by a tiny hook. Here are some examples of O words. First is no, no. No, no is written with the shorthand symbols of N and O. Second is toe. Toe is written with the shorthand symbols of T and O. Next is doe. Doe is written with the shorthand symbol of D and O. Next is home. Home is written with the shorthand symbol of H, O, and M. Next is own. Own is written with the shorthand symbol of O and N. Next is owning. Owning is written with the shorthand symbols of O, N, and ING. Next is known. Known is written with the shorthand symbol of N, O, and N. Next is tone. Tone is written with the shorthand symbols of T, O, and N. Next is total. Total is written with the shorthand symbol of T, O, T, and L. Next is note. Note is written with the shorthand symbol of N, O, and T. Next is noting. Noting is written with the shorthand symbols of N, O, T, and ING. And last is mode. Mode is written with the shorthand symbols of M, O, and D. Now let's proceed to the sound of R. R is represented by a short forward curve. R is a bit longer than O. Here are the examples of R words. First is ray. Ray is written with the shorthand symbol of R and A. Next is rate. Rate is written with the shorthand symbol of R, A, and T. Next is rate. Rate is written with the shorthand symbol of R, A, and D. Next is rain. Rain is written with the shorthand symbol of R, A, and N. Next is train. Train is written with the shorthand symbol of T, R, A, and N. Next is trade. Trade is written with the shorthand symbol of T, R, A, and D. Next is or. Or is written with the shorthand symbol of O and R. Next is more. More is written with the shorthand symbol of M, O, and R. Next is row. Row is written with the shorthand symbol of R and O. Next is road. Road is written with the shorthand symbol of R, O, and T. Next is road. Road is written with the shorthand symbol of R, O, and D. Next is near. Near is written with the shorthand symbol of N, E, and R. Next is deer. Deer is written with the shorthand symbol of D, E, and R. Next is ride. Right is written with the shorthand symbol of R, long I, and D. Next is ride. Ride is written with the shorthand symbol of R, long I, and D. Next is try. Try is written with the shorthand symbol of T, R, and long I. Next is tried. Tried is written with the shorthand symbol of T, R, long I, and D. And last is hire. Hire is written with the shorthand symbol of H, long I, and R. Now, let's go on the sound of L. L is represented by a long forward curve. Here are some examples of L words. First is lay. Lay is written with the shorthand symbols of L and A. Next is late. Late is written with the shorthand symbols of L, A, and T. Next is Lee. Lee is written with the shorthand symbols of L and E. Next is leading. Leading is written with the shorthand symbols of L, E, D, and ING. Next is lane. Lane is written with the shorthand symbols of L, A, and N. Next is lean. Lean is written with the shorthand symbols of L, E, and N. Next is lie. Lie is written with the shorthand symbols of L and long I. Next is light. Light is written with the shorthand symbols of L, long I, and T. Next is line. Line is written with the shorthand symbols of L, long I, and N. Next is dale. Dale is written with the shorthand symbols of D, A, and L. Next is mailing. Mailing is written with the shorthand symbols of M, A, L, and ING. And last is low. Low is written with the shorthand symbols of L and O. Before we proceed to our next topic, let's have a brief practice first. Let's try O words. Can you read this? Let's see if you get the right answer. The answer is dough. How about this? The answer is owning. How about the R words? Can you read this one? The answer is train. How about this? The answer is ride. Let's try L words. Can you read this one? The answer is leading. And this? Lean is the right answer. You're doing good. Now, let's proceed to our next topic, which is the minor vowels omitted. Just like the concept I mentioned earlier, that you write what you hear, some of the words here in stenography are omitting some vowels because they are not barely pronounced in ordinary speech. Here are some of the words. First is later. Later is written with the shorthand symbols of L, A, T, and R. As you can see, the shorthand symbol of E was omitted because it is barely pronounced. Next is leader. Leader is written with the shorthand symbols of L, E, D, and R. And just like the word later, some of the vowels are omitted. Next is lighter. Lighter is written with the shorthand symbols of L, long I, T, and R. Next is reader. Reader is written with the shorthand symbols of R, E, D, and R. Next is dealer. Dealer is written with the shorthand symbols of D, E, L, and R. Next is trailer. Trailer is written with the shorthand symbols of T, R, A, L, and R. Next is meter. Meter is written with the shorthand symbols of M, E, T, and R. Now, let's move on to our last topic for today's video, which is the sound of short I. Short I is represented by the shorthand symbol of E, which is a small circle. Here are some examples of short I words. First is hymn. Hymn is written with the shorthand symbols of H, short I, and M. Next is hit. Hit is written with the shorthand symbols of H, short I, and T. Next is hitting. Hitting is written with the shorthand symbols of H, short I, T, and ING. Next is team. Team is written with the shorthand symbols of T, short I, and M. Next is did. Did is written with the shorthand symbols of D, short I, and D. Next is liter. Liter is written with the shorthand symbols of L, short I, T, and R. Next is little. Little is written with the shorthand symbols of L, short I, T, and L. And lastly is knit. Knit is written with the shorthand symbol of N, short I, and T. And that ends our lessons for today. I hope you learn and remember all the topics we discussed. Thank you for watching.